So in modern day China, as a guy, if you want to marry a Chinese girl, especially in one of China's first tier cities, unless you have a net worth of a minimum 300,000 US dollars, you can forget about it. And it is because of this China's birth rate is so low, and China's populations and the economy is facing a total collapse. So I'll give you an example, okay? Things have totally changed. So my grandma was born in 1939. Her husband is 2 years older, and they got married in 1957. So my grandfather, this is on my mother's side, he must have caught something. I'm not sure exactly what his condition was, but something similar to polio. So he walks with a limp. Ever since his younger days, he always had to walk with a cane, and he never went to school. He has zero education. He can barely read or write. He's 5'4", right? And he's completely broke, has no money at all. And my grandma married my grandfather as a 18-year-old virgin, and she gave birth to 5 children in total. Unfortunately, one died in infancy, and one died after suffering from a heart attack. But in the end, they stayed married together, and with their 3 remaining children. And they were both extremely poor. My grandma never had anything. She's tried many businesses in China. All of them ended in failure. And they've had to bounce around, working various really shit jobs for the equivalent of minimum wage. But they both got by. They stayed together until the end. Now imagine this today. Even without my grandfather's leg condition, let's say if you walk normally. So let's say today in Canada, you have a guy that's flipping burgers at McDonald's, making $16.50 an hour. He's 5'4". He has zero education. He's not attractive. And imagine this guy marrying an 18-year-old virgin. And this woman will submit to him. This woman will respect him. And this woman will have 3 children with this guy. And they lived happily married after. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Well, that's what the world is turning into. I honestly think that, third wave feminism, they have turned a woman into gold diggers. I've mentioned in the past that I'm a 31-year-old virgin. I've never been on a date. It has become impossible for the average guy. I've discussed Japan's 80-50 crisis in their country, where it's estimated that between 70 to 80% of men are virgins into their 30s. That is the reality. It's the same thing in South Korea. It is consistently ranked as one of the most depressing nations on earth, right up there with North Korea. We're talking about the capitalist pro-Western South Korea. That's what the country is turning into, because it has become impossible for average man to find a match. So all of China's cities, they're being grouped into various tiers. Okay, I don't know how many tiers it goes down to, maybe like 6. So my hometown is considered a 4th tier city. So the mega cities, for example, in Beijing or Chongqing or Shanghai or Tianjin, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, those really mega cities, with 10, 15, 20 million people, those are tier 1 cities. Those are the most expensive city to live in. And for example, if you go to China, let's say you are a passport bro or something, and you want to marry a Chinese girl, this is the requirement if you want to marry a girl from a 1st tier city, okay? Well, the first thing they will ask you is that, what is your height? This is the same for any girl in the world. I'm standing here 5 feet 8 inches. For over 80% of the Chinese women, that is a no-go zone, okay? Every single one of them has a height requirement. And the many Chinese girls, they want 180 centimeters, which is just under 5'11". And for Asian standard, that's very tall. So right off the bat, 80% of guys are gone. After that, they will ask you for a home, okay? In China, it's typically a condo, and the average size is roughly 100 square meters, or that converts to 1,076 square feet. So even if you have a home, but if it's a really small one, if it's only 70 or 80 square meters, they think your home is too small. That is a no-go. After the house, they will ask you, what kind of car do you drive? And if you say, oh, maybe I have a Volkswagen, I have a Jetta, I have a Prius or Honda Civic, they say, no, not good enough. At least it has to be in class of something like a Toyota Camry, maybe a Honda Pilot, or a Mercedes and BMW. Then after that, they will ask you for a cash payment. I'm not making this up. This is called a caili, okay? So typically, for example, in my hometown of Jilin, China, which is a 4th tier city, okay? Any average girl off the street, they will ask you for a cash payment of 200,000 renminbi, or this roughly translates to $30,000 US. $30,000 US. And remember, in China, they're making Chinese currency. They're not making US dollars. That is just any girl off the street. That's from a 4th tier city. If you go to the mega cities like Beijing or Shanghai or Chongqing, typically the minimum they ask you for is somewhere around 500,000 renminbi or 70,000 US dollars. That is just a cash payment. You're also expected to spend minimum 3 months of your salary on a wedding ring. On top of that, you're expected to buy minimum 4 pieces of jewelry for this Chinese girl. I'm talking about earrings, necklace, purse. Okay, you're expected to give her 4 gifts on top of this wedding ring. On top of this, you're expected to pay for a dream wedding, right? A lot of these ladies are not okay with just going to the restaurant and to bring your families and friends over. No. They want the perfect, Hollywood movie dream wedding. And that can cost an insane amount of money. And if you go to an expensive major city in China like Beijing, that could easily cost you 20,000 US dollars. You're expected to pay for this wedding in full. On top of that, you're expected to pay for the 1 month honeymoon in full. And they cannot just be a honeymoon of going to the countryside. She wants to go skiing in Vail, Colorado. She wants to go to Paris. She wants to go to London. She wants to go to Dubai, to go to the Maldives. And you had to pay for everything in full. That is the expectation on a guy. We're truly living in the matriarchy. Our society has completely destroyed men. So, I've said this many times before. This is the reason why. So, all of the women are matching with a very, very small percentage of guy. And all these women are complaining about, oh, this guy being toxic, this guy's an abuser, this guy's a cheater. Well, no shit. You're all matching with the very small percentage of man. For example, I have a lot of respect for someone like Jackie Chan, right? The movie star. I think he's an amazing person. But listen, Jackie Chan, he's a walking STD. He has a lot of issues in his personal and married life, okay? And it is a miracle that he's still married to his wife, but they're just married on paper. I can say with confidence that Jackie Chan's, his body count, he's probably slept with anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 women. That's where society is turning into. So the top 1% of men is sleeping around with all the women, while the average guy can't even find a date. And you wonder why the population is shrinking and the economy is shrinking. And also, guys, do not be fooled. Because I used to believe some of these girls, they talk about on social media. Same thing with these Chinese women. They said that, oh, it's okay. If a guy is broke, I don't mind. I'll marry that guy. I'm going to submit to him. I'll be nice to him. It's okay if he doesn't have a house. We can rent. It's okay if he drives a Prius. It's okay if he doesn't have a BMW. And it's okay if he doesn't make 100,000 or 200,000. Listen, they're all full of shit. They're just putting on a fake personality online in order to please people, in order to not receive backlash. Because I've tried to approach some of these women who say that, it's okay if you're broke, it's okay if you're not tall, right? It's okay if you don't have a Mercedes. And they just say that. But when you actually try to pursue them, and they're gonna turn around and say, oh my god, look, this guy is so short, this guy is so disgusting, this guy is so broke, oh, he doesn't have a 6-figure job, he doesn't have his Mercedes. And they will never even look at you in the eye. That's just the reality. And it's unbelievable that our society never addresses this. They keep talking about we have a labor shortage, and they keep talking about we have a population collapse. And they say that, oh, divorce rate is skyrocketing through the roof. There's so much adultery and all of these toxic relationships. But you know what? If you want to fix all of this, it has to start with this. Because all of the women only want the top tier guy. And for example, as a guy, let's say, if I try to set up a date with a woman, let's say we go to a restaurant, we go to a cafe or something. Let's say if a woman lists all of these requirements, let's say I am that guy. Let's say I am tall. Let's say I'm 6'3". Let's say I'm a millionaire. Let's say I have a condo in China. I also have a beach house somewhere in Costa Rica. I got my Mercedes. I can give her the dream wedding. I can give her the dream honeymoon. I can buy her all of these pieces of jewelry. I can pay these 70,000 US dollars cash payment to her. The thing is, if I ask the Chinese girl, okay, what do you have to offer me in return? And you know what these women say? This. Right? Modern women have literally almost nothing to offer to their man. Because imagine, if a guy sets up a date with a girl, and imagine if the girl asks the guy, what do you bring to the table? If the guy goes like, this is what I'm bringing to the relationship. Imagine how that conversation is gonna go. And our society has completely flipped into the matriarchy, and it's completely destroying our world. And I believe that this is one of the globalist agendas, because it's not just happening in the West, it's happening in various parts around the world. And if you want to fix this system, you have to start with re-educating young women. I'm sorry, ladies, that's just the reality. I'm calling it just as it is. All of you have become gold diggers. Relationships and marriages have become 100% a financial transaction. That's why the divorce rate is so high. There's no true love anymore. The most important thing you need to be looking for a man when you want a future husband, when you want a father figure for your child, it's 2 characters in Chinese. It's 人品, the content of his character. That should always be number 1. And you really, really have to change your mindset. This is why men are not happy anymore. This is why women are not happy anymore. This is why the nuclear family is gone. It's unbelievable that I've been alive for 31 years now. Nobody has ever brought up this issue. And it is completely destroying our world.